Hey, what's going on, guys? So one of my patrons asked me to create a project that was similar to like a PowerPoint, a presentation website. So instead of reinventing the wheel and creating this from scratch, we're actually going to use an open source project called WebSlides, which is really cool. We just need to include a CSS file and a JavaScript file, and we can create these really cool HTML presentations. So we're going to build this Traversy Media Bootcamp presentation, which obviously is a fictional bootcamp. And this is the landing page. We have the big logo background and some text and a button. And down here, you can see we have some arrows. So we can go to the next page. And WebSlides gives us a bunch of really nice utility classes that will give us, cards and shadows and all kinds of stuff. The grid system. So this page here, this slide uses the grid. We have 2 columns. This next one has 3. We have these little cards with the bounce effect. So this one here, Bootcamp Projects, we have more info. This Are You Ready with the download brochure button, and then this last thank you page with the Twitter handles of the creators of WebSlides. All right, so another really cool thing about this is if we click the middle here, it'll show us all the slides at once. So we can just kind of pick one and go right to it, which is really cool. So this is going to be a pretty simple project. We don't have to do any JavaScript. We just need to structure our HTML in a certain way. We need to use certain classes to position the content and give it the styling and stuff like that. So this is the GitHub page. And basically we just need to download the zip file and include the CSS and the JavaScript. And obviously this is a specific project, but you can replace the images, replace the text, make it your own. There's a lot you can do with it. You could even integrate React or something like that. You can make it interactive. So hopefully you enjoy it and find it useful. So let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to start on our presentation. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is just show you how to get set up so that you can actually have the slide effect with the navigation and so on, and then we'll continue and we'll build the actual, the Traversy Media Bootcamp sample website. So to start off, I have a blank index HTML, and then I just have all my images here, like the background image for the first slide. I have the curriculum images. What else? The project images, and obviously you can change these up to whatever images you'd like, but I will have the code with the images in the description in either a GitHub or a code pen or something like that. Now, in order for us to continue, in order for us to use WebSlides, we need the CSS file and the JavaScript file. So I'm going to create a folder called, we want to create a folder in the root here. And we want this to be our CSS folder, and then we also want a JS folder. And then we need to go to the WebSlides, either the GitHub page or the website, and download the zip file. So we can get that right here, webslideslatest.zip. And if we look inside there, we have some demos, so you can look at some examples and stuff like that. But what we're interested in is in the static folder. There's a CSS folder and a JS folder, and we want these 2 WebSlides files. Okay, you can use either the minified JavaScript or the regular. We don't actually need the SVG icons. We're not going to need those. We just need these 2 files. So I'm going to open up my project folder as well and bring in the WebSlides CSS. And in the JavaScript, we're going to bring the webslides.js. Okay, so those are the only 2 files that we need in order to use the functionality here. So, I mean, from now on, we basically just need to use specific classes, kind of like if we were using Bootstrap or some kind of framework. Because this comes with, let's see, this comes with cards and all types of stuff here. 40 plus components, background images, quotes, cards, nav, stuff like that. And you can check out the documentation if you need more info. So let's now go into VS Code, and let's just create a boilerplate here. And for the title, we'll just say Traversy Media Bootcamp, and we want to include a link to the CSS, so CSS/WebSlides. And down in the body here, we need to include a script with a source of JS/WebSlides.js. Now, like I said, I just want to show you the very basics of creating the slide functionality. So in order to do that, we need to have a main. We're going to create a main tag here, so an HTML5 main tag, and we're going to give this a role of main. And then inside here, we're going to have an article with the ID of WebSlides. Okay, and then we give it a class of whatever direction we want the slides to go. If we want it vertical, we can use vertical. I'm going to use horizontal because I want it to go side to side. And then all we have to do to create a slide is create a section. So let's say slide, put a comment here, it says slide 1 with a section. And for now, I'm just going to put the text slide 1. And then I'll go under it, I'll put another comment, say slide 2, and just another section. Doesn't need any specific ID or class or anything, just a section, and slide 2. Now this isn't going to work just yet because we do have to initialize the WebSlides object. So right under this script tag with the source, we're going to create another script, and we just need one line of code here, and we need to say window.ws equals new WebSlides, like that. Okay, so that should initialize it, and that's all we need to give it the slide functionality. So let's try it out. Let's see, we'll open this with Live Server, which is a VS Code extension, or you can just open up your HTML file. Okay, so you can see we have the text right here, slide 1, and notice the navigation down here. It says 1 out of 2 because we have 2 sections. And if I click the arrow, it goes over. If I click again, it'll go to the beginning, and we can go back and forth. We can also click in the middle here, and it'll give us this view of our pages, which is really cool, and we can choose that way as well. All right, so very minimal work to be able to get the slides, and of course you can create whatever design you want, but you do have access to certain classes and components to kind of make this look good. So we're going to continue on, and we're going to create that whole bootcamp website. Now I do actually want a couple things. I want font awesome, so I'm going to search for font awesome 5 CDN. And we're just going to grab that. I'm going to grab the CSS, the link, just say copy link tag. And let's put that right here. And we also want a font. I think it's the Roboto font. What I'm going to do is actually grab, let's see, I want the, from the zip file that I downloaded in the HTML here. Let's see, I'm just going to grab where is it? Right here, this is the font. Yeah, Roboto. So we just want to grab this link right here and put that there. So now let's work on the first slide, because right now I just have the text slide 1. So we're going to get rid of that. Now I want to add a background image to this slide, and that's really easy to do. We can just simply add a span here and give it a class of background, and then we can add a style attribute here, and we're going to set this to a set of quotes and just say background dash image colon URL, and inside these parentheses we can put the link to an image that we want to use. So I want to go in the images folder, and then background.png is the image that I want to use. All right, so if I save that and we go back to slide 1, now we have a background image. Okay, so you can easily add background images like that. Now we want to add some content, some text, so we're going to go under the span where we just added the background, and we're going to have a class of wrap. Okay, so whenever we want to add content, we want to use this wrap class. And let's put in H1, and I'm also going to have some strong tags and just say Traversy Media Bootcamp. And then under that, I'm going to have a paragraph with the class of text intro, which I believe just gives it like larger text, but not as big as the header. So let's say we make learning web development easy, and then I'm going to just put a line break here, and then let's say become a full stack web dev in 3 months. Yeah, we'll just say in 3 months. I mean, the copy in this, the text in this, I don't really care about. You can put whatever. So let's see, we have that, and then I just want to have a button to download a brochure. I don't actually have a brochure, but you know, just for the site. So let's put a paragraph, and we're going to use an A tag here with a class of button. Okay, so we have it's kind of like using Bootstrap. You have these classes that will give you these elements, and then we want it to have a zoom in effect. So there's also a class that we can use of zoom in, like that, and this isn't going to actually go anywhere. And then for the text, we'll say download. We'll say download our brochure. So let's save that and see what we get. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Now, if you want to check out any of the styles of the classes we've been using, of course, you can use your dev tools. So, for instance, the wrap class, you can see has a width of 90%. Margin left and right is auto. Let's see what else we have. The text intro class has a font size of 2.4 rem, line height of 4 rems. So you can change this stuff if you want. In fact, this button here, I don't want that to be that color, which is this right here, 44D. I want it to be the same color as my logo. Now, if you want to change the CSS, there's a couple things you could do. One, you can just edit the CSS directly in WebSlides, or you can, I guess the better way to go if it's a serious project and you think you're going to edit a lot of the CSS is to create a separate CSS file and overwrite the styles. But since this is really the only thing we're changing, I'm just going to directly change the WebSlides CSS. What I'm going to do is just search for that color of, what was it, 44D. Looks like we have it in 6 spots, and I want to just replace that with my blue and from my logo. So I'm going to grab that. Let's highlight this, and I'm just going to hit Control D or Command D to select all of these, and then I'm just going to paste in my blue that looks like that and save. And then if we go back, the button is now the color of my logo. And of course, you can use whatever colors you want. And like I said, you can overwrite the styles in a different file if you don't want to touch the actual WebSlides CSS. All right, so let's continue on here. I'm going to close that up, and now we're ready to start working on our second slide. So the second slide is going to be an unordered list, but it's going to be kind of a card with a shadow, and we're going to make it look nice using some of the classes that are available to us. So in the slide 2 here, the second section, let's create a class of wrap, and we're going to make this more narrow. So we're going to use the size-50 class, and then we also want it to align center. So there's a class called align center we can use as well. And of course, you can look up these classes in the docs. So let's have an H2 strong, and we'll say Y Traversy media. And we'll have let's do an intro text, or text intro rather. And we'll say become a developer in a few months. And I didn't really think much about the text I'm putting here. It's just, it doesn't really matter. You can just use filler text if you want. So now we're going to have the cards with the unordered list. So we want to have a class of BG white, okay, so that we have like BG primary, BG white, BG dark, and we want to use the class of shadow to give it a little bit of shadow. And the UL is going to have a class of flex block, okay, which is going to give us these nicely formatted list items, and then a class of reasons as well. And inside here we'll have our list items, which will have an H2, and let's just say latest and greatest technologies, and then a paragraph. I'm just going to use lorem 20, just put in some dummy text here, and then we'll take this li and copy it down, and for this H2 Like I said, you can put anything you want. I'm just going to say learn in a simple way. Okay, so let's save that. Let's go back and go to our second slide, and it looks like this. Okay, so it has that little effect if you hover over it, and it's numbered automatically. So if you want to check out the styles, of course, you can open up your dev tools here, and you can see like the shadow class and BG white, flex block, and then the styles of each list item. Okay, so if you want to check that stuff out, you can if you want to know exactly what's going on in terms of the CSS. But yeah, so I think that looks pretty good. And of course, if we look at this view, we can see it here as well. So now let's move to our third slide. So remember, in order to create a new slide, we simply need to create another section. Okay. Now in this slide, I'm actually going to use the grid system. Okay, so we can use we have a couple classes to use. We have the grid class, and then we have the column class, which makes it really easy to have, 2 columns, 3 columns, whatever we want. So first of all, we need our wrap, and inside here we'll say grid, and we can align it in certain ways. So we're going to use the vertical dash align class. And in here, we're going to have 2 columns. One column will have some text, and one column will have an image. So let's say column, and let's go ahead and times that by 2. Okay, so we have 2 column classes. In the first one, we're going to have an H3 with a strong, oops, what happened? For some reason, Emmett's not working. Oh, I think all right. So strong, and here we'll just say full stack JavaScript, and then let's have a paragraph. Well, this is going to be our text intro, which has certain styling, certain font sizes and stuff. We'll say we teach you JavaScript front to back, and then I'm going to have another paragraph with some more text, but I'm just going to paste this in. So basically just saying we start with front-end HTML, CSS, JavaScript, teach you React, Node.js, Express, and so on. So that's the first column. So this div right here is the first column, and then in the second, it's just going to be an image. So it's going to be in the images folder, and it's going to be the tech PNG. So let's go ahead and save that and take a look. So we'll go to our third slide, and that's what it looks like. Okay, so remember, we have our grid class, and then we have the column classes, and we could easily have 3 or 4 columns, whatever we want. Okay, so that's slide 3, and let's see, we're going to create slide 4. Slide 4 is going to be our curriculum. So let's create a new section. We'll put a comment, say slide 4 and section. Okay, and then we want our wrap. So you can see it's pretty repetitive. In here we're going to have, let's do an H2 and say curriculum. I think I spelled that right. And then we're going to do the flex block again. So a UL with the class of flex block, and this time we're going to use the features class, which gives it certain styling. So this will actually it'll actually make it a row instead of a column. So in here, let's do li, and we're going to have a div with an h2. Let's do an h2. We'll say HTML/CSS. And still within the div here, actually let's put that here. Okay, and then under the H2 we're going to have an image, which is going to be images / and it's going to be the curriculum or cur1.png. Okay, so that's the first part of the curriculum, and then let's take this li and just copy it down twice. So the second H2 is going to be front end programming. And this is going to be curriculum 2 image. And then this one here backend programming, and this is going to be cur 3, and that should do it. So let's save. Let's go back. Let's go to slide 4. Okay, so I forgot this is another thing we want to change in the CSS. So these images by default are small. So if we take a look, let's see. So we have right here. So flex block features li image. The width is 6.4 rem, and I actually want to change that. So let's go into the CSS and let's search for flex block, and let's see, it should be somewhere around here. And again, you probably want to overwrite this rather than change it, you know, or put it in a different CSS file. Where is this? Let's see, 6.4 rem. Should be able to find it here. Is that it? Features, oh yeah, right here. So features li. I'm actually going to change this to 100% and save. There we go. So now the images are 100%. Okay, so pretty simple. We just have three list items here with some text and images, and of course you could put whatever you want in here. So that's 4 slides. So the next one is going to be the bootcamp projects. So let's do that. Let's go under this section, and I believe this is slide 5. Okay, so we want another section here, and wrap, and then let's put an let's do an H2 strong, and let's say bootcamp projects, and put a paragraph, and we'll say what we build. And let's see, under that we're going to use the gallery class along with the flex block class. So this will be a UL with flex block. I have trouble saying that for some reason. And then gallery. Okay, and then let's do a list item, and basically we're going to have just a link. So this would be a link to like either the project or a GitHub or something like that, but I'm not going to actually bother putting that in there. And we're going to use a figure tag here, and inside figure we'll have our image, which is going to be, this is going to be project 1 PNG, and under the image we're going to use the fig caption tag, which I guess Emmett's not going to work with, but we want to use this fig caption, and then an H2, and then the name of the project. This is going to be the dev connector, which is an actual project from my MERNSTAT course. Okay, so that's our first project, and then all we want to do is take this li, and we want 4 of these. So we have project 1, project 2, 3, and 4, and then we'll just change up the names here. The second one I believe is GitHub Finder, which is part of my React course, as well as this one, IT Logger, and then we have SpaceX launches. Okay, so just some screenshots of these projects. Let's take a look, and there we go. So now we have 5 slides? Yeah, so we have a couple more to do. The next one is just like some info, like instructors and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and say slide 6. So section. So it should be really clear on how you create slides. It's simply a section. You know, you have your main tag, your article with an ID of WebSlides, you have your sections, and then you can use the wrap class. You can use flex block with a bunch of utility classes. You have the grid with columns. So it should be pretty clear on how to do this. So H2 strong, and we'll just say more info, and then we'll have a paragraph that just says find out more. So here I'm actually going to use the grid again. So let's say grid and vertical align, and we'll have a column. So in this column I'm going to have an H4 and strong tags and say instructors, and then underneath that we'll have a paragraph and we'll say we have some of the best programming instructors in the world working with us. And I'm not saying that I am that, it's just something to write. So we have a UL with the class of description. So the description class, I believe, gives each list item like a border and some padding and stuff like that. So let's say list item, and then we'll just have a link that goes nowhere, and we'll put my name here, and then, I don't know, John Doe, Jane Doe. Okay, so that's the first one, and then the rest of the columns are going to be pretty similar. So I'm just going to grab this column, and we're going to have 3 of them. So we'll go ahead and copy this down twice. So the second column, we'll say pricing info, and let me just paste this text in here. Okay, click below to find some of our pricing info, and we have, let's say, a 30-day program, a 60-day program, 90-day program. Okay, and then the last one here, last column, is going to be resources. And let me just paste some text in here. Okay, and then I'm just going to put YouTube. What else? Udemy and MDN docs. All right, so that's our slide. Let's check that out. So if we click this arrow, there we go. So, I mean, nothing too fancy, but we're using the grid here. We have 3 columns. So the next one is going to be just kind of like, you know, another button to download the brochure and say, like, are you ready to start? Things like that. So let's say slide, what is this, 7. So we want to do a section, and let's do wrap. H2, say, are you ready? And then we'll have our text intro class. Say, are you ready to become a full stack web developer? And then underneath that, we'll have another paragraph, and then we'll have a link to our brochure. So let's do an A tag with a class of button, which should give it that color. Remember, we changed the color in the CSS to match my logo. We'll say download our brochure. And that's it. So if we go to the next slide, actually, you know what? We want this in the middle. So if you want to align something to the middle, we can add, right on the section, we can add a class of align center. I don't know why some classes have dashes and some, like vertical align has a dash in it. This one doesn't. Okay, so now you can see that's right in the middle. And then I want to do one last slide. That's just a thank you slide, similar to the one in the demo. Just putting the Twitter accounts of the creators of WebSlides. So let's do that. So slide 8, section, and then this, I'm going to use a class here actually of slide dash bottom, which I believe just pushes everything to the bottom. and then have our wrap. And we want the content on the right, so there's a class of content right. So you can see there's classes to put anything you want wherever you want. There's also a class here of text serif that I'm not exactly sure what it does, but it styles the font differently. So H2 strong, and let's say thank you. And let's see, under the H2 we'll have a paragraph, and let's say thank you to the creators of WebSlides, smiley face, and we'll say follow them on Twitter below. And then we'll just put another paragraph here, and I'm just going to paste in links to their Twitter accounts. Same thing that's on the demo. Okay, and that's it. So let's save that. Let's go back and go to the last slide, which is non-existent. What did I do? Oh, I put my section outside of the article. So this section needs to be in here. Okay, so go back, let's see. Okay, so that's the last slide, just a thank you, and you can see how it positions the content on the right down at the bottom. Okay, cool, and if we click on the middle, we can see all of our slides here. So I think this is pretty cool. I mean, if you need to give a presentation and you don't want to use PowerPoint, maybe you want something that people can load up on their laptops while they're in the room and they can follow along with you. You can also put absolutely anything you want here. You could even use like React or something and make it interactive. So I just think it's a really cool open source project. So, you know, check it out, use it if you have anything to create a presentation with, or even just a regular website where you want this type of functionality. But that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this and found it useful, and I will see you in the next video.